Hello and welcome to my speed paint and analysis video of my Dragon Age 2 playthrough. Fair warning, I wrote down what to say, but there's still a high chance that I'm going to make a fool out of myself. Some of my thoughts may be all over the place, so that's why I'm actually going to make an outline of what I will talk about regarding Dragon Age 2. So the first thing is what I'm drawing and how it relates to the rest of my thoughts about the game. Then we have Hawke as the protagonist, the companions, romance, a conflict between good story and writing and mediocre gameplay, the comparison with Dragon Age Origins, and closing remarks and Inquisition. The piece I am creating, titled Loss of Self, explores the unraveling of a once confident Hawke, who bore a symbolic mark on her face before the battle as a sign of her strong identity. However, as the story unfolds, the trauma of losing her mother and experiencing repeated betrayal erodes her sense of self. Over time, she becomes disconnected from who she once was, no longer defined by her own identity, but by the roles she played for others, which is just a fancy way of saying she's losing her fucking mind because everybody's crazy around her. But regardless, when I draw, I often focus on capturing relationships, as seen in my depiction of the Warden and Liliana. While the Warden's identity wasn't solely shaped by Liliana, her presence played a significant role in Alyssa's life. Despite the surrounding chaos, destruction, and the looming uncertainty of death or whatever, Alyssa found a source of light and hope in Liliana. They were in love. Of course, the same does apply to Isabel and Hawke, and I will talk about them more later, but I did not want to draw them for my final thoughts video. Don't worry though, I'm still gonna draw those bitches on the beach living their lesbian vacation pirate fantasy. But for this analysis, I wanted to focus on who Hawke was and what she had to go through throughout this game. Hawke is a tragic hero. From the start of the story, she already experienced loss. Her home overtaken by Darkspawn, her brother dying for the stupidest reason ever, but whatever, not my point. She almost lost her sister in the Deep Roads, she lost her mother to a crazy-ass psycho mage, her friends consistently betray her or keep from her. Just the fate alone, for example, where bringing Meryl and Isabella led them to betraying Hawke after being persuaded by demons, Isabella almost abandoning Hawke, Anders selfishly making her responsible for a terrorist attack, betraying her trust, and I mean, that's just the companions and the main characters of the game. Like, we're not even talking about like the NPCs throughout the story and how she had to be placed in the middle of the most controversial politics known in the world of Dragon Age, Mage versus Templar, the Canary. It's just like a shitload of trauma. That's why when her mother died, I decided to do an aesthetic change by removing the mark on her face. Of course, granted, I also just figured out you can fucking change the appearance of Hawke, but that's not the point. I love Hawke as a character. She is such a compelling protagonist. The thing about her though is that she is so predefined. Like, yes, there are different versions of Hawke, diplomatic, sarcastic, and assertive, but it's hard to really create your own character like you could with the Warden. Hawke remains typically the same character. It just depends on whether you want her to be boringly calm, have really bad dad jokes, or anger issues. Despite this, however, she remains human. I will point out though that I hate how you can only pick one version of Hawke to carry over. Like, yes, my Hawke is diplomatic, but she's also stupid as fuck. Like, come on. Like, where are the mixed options at? I'm almost tempted to change it so my Hawke is seen as sarcastic opposed to diplomatic, but I feel like that wouldn't be authentic. Now, the companions. I will say at first I was really skeptical of the whole rival and friendship system that was displayed in this game. Knowing me, I also wanted everyone to love me because that's how I enjoyed playing these games, and I also figured getting them to like me was the only way that you can get the full story out of these characters. However, I was sorely mistaken. You could have rival romances with these characters for fuck's sakes. I kind of wish I took more advantage of that. However, looking back, the only character I would rival would probably be Anders because of how much of a dipshit he was for betraying me at the end. But at the same time, I did like how having a trustworthy, lovable Hawke played into the game. Like hell, I was so supportive that Meryl ended up killing her whole clan and Anders blew up a church. And Fenris killed his only remaining family member. Like, what the fuck, dude? But that's the beauty of it though. Like, I love how human your companions are. They're their own people and you can disagree with them and still enjoy their story. They have their own thoughts and mindsets. It's not like Origins where you dishonor every value they uphold and then give Morgan a voodoo doll and all is well. I love the humanity of the companions. I love how they take sides. It makes the friendship more meaningful. That's why I was kind of sad when at the end the companions all left Hawke's side. Like, Like, what the fuck? Talk about another betrayal. Come on, guys. I thought we were all friends. Especially when Fenris and Marrow left. Like, they have no one, and Hawk was the only person they could truly rely on. And it's just like, it's just kind of depressing. Like, I don't know. But regardless, all main characters in this game were very well written. Meredith was well written. The Arishok was well written. Heck, even Gamlin was well written. My only real problem with the companions were the limited depth of interaction and vulnerability within the friendship path. Like, yes, don't get me wrong, they were there, but they often felt somewhat rushed or underdeveloped. However, I had this problem with Origins too, and I will say it is definitely better and it has improved. It's just when you compare it to a game like Baldur's Gate 3, the bonds of friendship and love between the companions and protagonists, while solid, don't quite reach the same emotional depth or impact. Which brings me to my next point, the romance. I love Isabella, I really do. I think the romance between her and Hawk is so touching. She was scared to love, yet couldn't imagine living her life without Hawk by her side. Even when she could have ran away, she came back for Hawk. Now, out of all the characters, Isabella and Varric are possibly the only neutral characters. I will say, Isabella does lean more towards the mages, but that's beside the point. The point is, Isabella doesn't give much of a shit about anything that's going on, but Isabella continually risks herself and compromises her values out of love for Hawk, and I think that's why I was freaking out so much when they had that final kiss at the end of the game. It was the moment when Isabella, who had always been guarded, feared losing someone she genuinely loved and would be truly selfless for. But damn, dude, give me more. Like, yes, if you think of just the writing, the romance had as much, if not more, writing than Origins does. But at least in Origins, I can give my baby girl Liliana a kiss or 6. Like, where the fuck is that in Dragon Age 2? Besides some limited party banter or snide comments, there's nothing that establishes that Isabel and Hawk are together. It doesn't help that you could literally have a threesome with Zev like it's nothing. I want some pizzazz, man. Some pixels kissing, like being able to talk to her in the Hangman, ask her how she is, just anything. I mean, it takes 3 whole acts for Isabella to finally realize she loves you, but in those 3 acts, we don't get to truly experience the romance between them. I mean, Legacy helped a little, but come on, like, okay. Now, the story was great. No problems really, but the problem is that if you compare the writing to what you experience as a player, it's sort of disappointing. The combat just gets so repetitive. I don't know if it's because I played on hard difficulty, but I did not feel stronger. I didn't even feel any different. When we first get introduced to the game, they were really selling the combat feature and it was fun then. But then 71 hours later, all I'm really doing is the same thing I've been doing from the first few hours of the game. I'm not a game developer, so I don't know jack shit, but something just didn't hit right. Origins wasn't as flashy, but at least I didn't get bored of it towards the end. I don't know why, but I want to say it's because I felt stronger. And my point is that the combat in this game and the overall gameplay of Dragon Age 2 really downplays the story. It's like the beginning of the game was hella fun, and then even the end of the game was hella fun. Like that final battle was so amazing. Meredith was running around, bringing statues to life, like that's some epic shit. But in between, it's just, like, to be honest, it made the game feel boring. Even just crafting the potions was so booty, like, what even was that? Like, why am I paying for potions after finding resources? Like, why can't I just collect resources and craft without spending my gold? It just, I don't know. Like, the gameplay just, it didn't hit. It just didn't hit. And I know some people really hate every game that comes after Origins. And to be honest, I could understand that. Like, you don't get as much liberty as you do in Origins, yet the hate for Dragon Age 2 was so remarkable. I really thought I was about to play a shit game. And it's not a shit game. I think the story between Origins and Dragon Age 2 flows well, and I think the main problem was the gameplay. Also, having a predefined face for Hawk kinda is a bad marketing strategy. Like, Hawk is hot, don't get me wrong, but seriously, it's bad enough you have to be stuck as a human. I mean, Yes, the story fits good as a human, but if you're gonna have Hawk have a predefined name, race, and personality, you could at least make the looks more ambiguous, but that's just me. Regardless, I like both games. I do like Origins just a bit more, and I could see why people don't like Dragon Age 2, but I like both of them. And that leads me to my final point. Dragon Age Inquisition. Yup, while everyone else is playing a game from 2024, I will be playing a game almost 10 years older. But fret not, because I do like Inquisition. As mentioned before, it is what got me into Dragon Age. Of course, that was with ignorance of story and the ignorance of the rest of the Dragon Age series and how it works. So maybe my opinion will change, who knows? But personally, I am very excited to play. I will definitely be starting Dragon Age Inquisition soon, but I do need to finish my Baldur's Gate 3 videos, as I've been totally procrastinating on those, and maybe I should finish Fallout 4 while I'm at it, but I will be starting Inquisition soon. Trust me, I am so excited to play that game. Anyway, those are my thoughts and ramblings. If you want to know my specific thoughts on something, or if you want to discuss something I mentioned, let me know in the comments. But please consider I'm just the person who plays video games, and this is just my opinion, so be nice. Thanks. Okay, thanks for watching, and goodbye.